That's how we found insurance, really. So we didn't sell for 6 months, like you said. So we were upside down, $500,000 upside down.
From having $1.5 million in the bank to being $500,000 in debt. And that's what I usually tell a lot of our agents whenever they're complaining that, things are not working out. They have $1,500 in the bank. And it was like, are you $500,000 in debt? Because that's where we were. And we're able to turn it around. So if I can, you can. Chill. Hello and welcome to the Growth Circle podcast with Vivian and Adriano. This is our very first podcast, guys, and we're very excited for our topic today. We're going to be talking about our story, how we came to be, how we end up here, a little bit of what we're doing today, and where we're trying to go, right? So, all right, honey, are you ready?
I'm ready. I was born ready.
You were born. That's my line.
That's my line. You took
that
it
is
from me.
My line.
Okay. Let's not fight in front of the camera.
Okay, let's not do that. All right, so a little bit about our story. So Adriano and I met 4 years ago.
What?
I'm not quite sure. A few years ago.
It's been a time sink ever since we started in this industry.
Yeah, at the time I was an entrepreneur. I was running my business. I was going through a divorce at the time, so it was a very crazy time. And we were both investing into cryptocurrency. So I was going through a really crazy moment. I was investing into cryptocurrency. I used to be on Telegram, basically talking, with people about cryptocurrency and investments and all. And somebody put us on a group chat. And it was people from all over the world. And we started talking to each other. And next thing you know,
that was it. Here we are. No, it wasn't really like that. Yeah, so we both met. It was totally random. And then we just clicked, that chemistry. You're very fiery. And at the time I was still living in Montreal. I was a structural engineer for over a decade and everything was great. And then you just destroyed every stable aspect that I had going for myself. What I meant to say is,
what?
You didn't destroy it.
What? I destroyed every aspect you had going for yourself?
That was a terrible choice of words. You shook my foundation. That's what I'm saying. Like I was used to like a very specific routine.
I shook your foundation. I guess that's better than destroy every aspect you had going for yourself.
When you're struck by lightning, you suffer brain damage. So that's kind of what it is.
So the story is this. So, before I destroyed every aspect he had going for himself, I was living in Miami at the time. I was in the moment. At that moment, I was creating my previous jewelry line. And one day, I don't know what happened. Adriano and I were talking, and it was close to Valentine's Day. And I was like, okay, I need to meet this guy. So I got on a plane, went to Montreal, and then just showed up on his doorstep.
I can't recover. People are going to think we're a joke. But that's kind of, it's true. You showed up in February.
What does Dario say?
We're jumping the gun here in the story. So you said you were coming for Valentine's Day, and I said you're nuts. Don't do that. Like I have a whole thing going on. Yeah. So don't do that. My brother said, she's coming. Like, she's crazy. And so, lo and behold, you showed up. You sent me, you were in the airport, you were in the plane. I was like, holy crap, she's actually coming.
I showed up, guys.
Yeah.
I came. I went to Montreal in the middle of winter. So, it's love when you get on a plane and you fly from Miami to Montreal in February. There's something there.
Yeah, so there, we spent 12 days together or whatever it was, and there was no looking back from that point. It was hook, line, and sinker. And then, here we are. Fast forward, moved to Miami, left my engineering career behind, and the whole thing to start.
Oh, honey.
I left it behind for you.
You left your career behind for me.
Aren't you proud? One of your,
I am very proud, but you are a COO now. So just saying.
Okay, well, so yeah, I think A lot of times when people reach some kind of level of success, and I think we're doing that now, where we have a pretty large agency that's has a lot of top performers, just because we came from that. Well, what I'm trying to say is, whenever you see someone who's successful, it's very easy to say, oh my God, look at them, they're so lucky, or everything in their life is perfect, or man, they're just really smart and really great at what they're doing. But nobody sees the struggles that led to that point. Nobody really understands what was involved and what's continuously involved when you're trying to grow this thing or grow any business. Because what we do, I mean, we're self-employed. We have an insurance agency. Probably should have mentioned that for those of you joining for the first time. This is the episode 1 of season 1 of our podcast of the Growth Circle. And yeah, so we have multiple businesses, but our main line is our insurance agency. We protect about 1,500 families a month, and we have a lot of top performers, like I said, but it wasn't always like that.
No,
to the contrary, it was like touch and go for a very long time.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, we met in Montreal. We fell in love. Adriano did tell me he loved me before I told him I loved him.
We're circling back to the story again, because I'm just trying to fast forward this thing because we spoke. Yeah, there's merit there.
We end up falling in love, and the next thing you know, a few months later, he moved to Miami to be COO of my company. At the time, I had a jewelry line that was doing really well. But unfortunately, it was a business that I had with my ex-husband. And it's very hard when you're trying to work with your ex-husband, right? So I end up closing that line and taking everything that we made on that company and investing into our new venture, which was our previous jewelry line, Joie de Viv. And it was the most beautiful project you could possibly think about. We put $1.5 million into it. We put every single possible type of sweat, tears, and stress, and everything to make a perfect product, to make a perfect company, to make it successful. But unfortunately, whenever you are an entrepreneur, you understand that sometimes you're gonna do it all and it's just not gonna work out because it's not supposed to. So with that company, we opened it. We put 1.5 million. 6 months later, had not brought in a dime.
It was interesting. That's one way of putting it. Mav, if I remember, we were working 24 hours a day trying to get that up and running. And it was such a beautiful experience because I had never worked professionally or career-wise at that level. Like, you go to university, you study engineering, you get through it. Yeah, it's stressful, whatever. You have exams and whatnot. You start working, you start designing. There's a lot of responsibility. You're designing structures. But when you're really truly creating something and you step into that entrepreneurial world, there's so much more that goes into it versus a 9-to-5 or even any university or college degree. No matter what it is, engineering, accounting, you name it, even medicine, right? So the entrepreneurial experience is about reinvention and pouring every amount and every little bit of your soul into your project. And we did that. And we
sure did.
We matched it with the work ethic that was required to launch such a company. A company like that usually has dozens and dozens and dozens of employees. We were like a 2-person show. And so, yeah, it was heartbreaking when we poured our livelihood into that project for so long, and then it didn't take off. But there's always a silver lining at the end of the day, and that's how we found insurance, really. So we didn't sell for 6 months, like you said. So we were upside down, $500,000 upside down. It's not.
We went from having $1.5 million in the bank to being $500,000 in debt. And that's what I usually tell a lot of our agents whenever they're complaining that, things are not working out and they have $1,500 in the bank and they need to make it happen. I was like, are you $500,000 in debt? Because that's where we were, and we're able to turn it around. So if I can, you can, chill. But yeah, I think
that's not to say everybody struggles to they only know where they are. And so that's where we come in. It's our job to tell them, hey, listen, it could be a lot worse. So, you're so much closer to recovery and thriving than we were But
yeah.
everybody's suffering is their own, so like we have to take account. We have to.
I don't think a lot of people have the level of. I don't think a lot of people are at that point that they're like $500,000 in debt. It's a lot. We were, and again, I was a serial entrepreneur, so we had other levels of entrepreneurship failures on the line, and so I think it was January. I think it was January of 2021. Adriana and I look at each other and we're like, okay, what are we going to do? Like, we're going to keep trying doing this. Our overhead at the time was like $250,000 a month. You remember that, honey?
I mean, yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. I don't want to remember, but I do.
we were like, we had the most expensive digital marketing companies doing our marketing. We had this company that came to us and said, you guys have the best products on the market. We're gonna do this for you guys for free because there's something wrong. There's no way it's not working. And they actually put their money for the marketing on our product, and it still didn't work out. Nobody could understand why we couldn't take off. And in January, we got to that point that we were like, okay, I mean, we have to pay the bills. COVID was hitting at the time, so we were like, we have to renew our rent, and we don't have the money to do so. And we didn't even have the money to pay for the rent. At the time, I had two places, one in Miami and one in LA, because I was going through a divorce and I was between like a whole custody battle and stuff. And I had that on top of everything else. And next thing you know, we're like, what are we going to do here? So we just looked at each other and said, hey, let's go get jobs. Like, I'll get a job. I'm a CEO. I'm a CMO. I can get a job paying, I don't know, $250,000 a year. Adriano is a genius structural engineer. You can get a job too. And then we started looking for jobs.
I mean, yeah, it was about survival at that point. Like we've all been there, scrounging for cash. You need it yesterday. The phone calls started coming in. We were locked out of the apartment. Our elevator keys were shut off. It wasn't fun. We laugh about it now, but it really wasn't fun. Anyone who's in that amount of stress and under that amount of pressure, especially financial pressure, it just spills over into every other aspect of your life. Like you're in a bad mood, your health, you don't feel good, you want to sleep all day. It was I remember at some point I was playing a lot of my Nintendo Switch. I was like sitting down waiting for people to call me back. Remember when I was on the couch and you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? I'm like, well, I'm lost. I feel lost, It's all coming back to me in bits and pieces that were kind of lockered away. But we decided that we didn't want to work for anybody else again. So Viv found her job. It was it was a great job. It was going to allow for us to more than survive. And I found something that wasn't ideal, but I was in the situation I was in, so I was willing to accept it. And we came across it was an ad on ZipRecruiter, and it was for an insurance agency. To become a producer, to get an insurance license.
Just have insurance.
Yeah.
Just have insurance, guys. It's just have insurance. It was a night. Just have insurance. Let's go door knock and sell insurance to people.
It was very, very sexy. And so Viv's like, I'm going to do this.
Nobody grows up wanting to be an insurance agent.
Wouldn't I? Yeah, me neither.
Full disclosure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that needs to be disclosed. It's kind of a given fact. It's a fact. And so, yeah, Viv came to me and said, I don't want to go work for anyone else. I'm going to get this insurance license, and we're going to freaking kill it, and we're going to do it. And she got her license in 3 days. And it takes most people way longer than that. I got mine in 3 days as well, which was, a simple process. And so we got into insurance because we knew that there was such a huge potential to build something. And we wanted to build something. We had just come from building something and failing. We were like, well, we can either throw in the towel and join the rest of society or get after it.
But that's the thing. For like Adriano and I work in very different ways, right? Like I've always been an entrepreneur. Like I used to be a big actress in Brazil, but before I was an actress, I used to do all kinds of entrepreneurial things. When I was 6 years old, I used to go to concerts with my neighbor that she was a teacher, And I would get autographs, and I would do little stands outside of my house at 6 years old and sell those autographs. And I would make some money at 6. So I always had that spirit in me. And I was always somebody I was never afraid of jumping off the ledge. Because if I believed on why I was jumping, I knew I was going to find a way to fly. Adriano, however, was very different. Adriano is a structural engineer. He likes very, very secure, very safe things. So for us, it was very interesting, like how we came to that, because I did have a phenomenal CMO job on the table, paying $250,000, all benefits and the whole thing. But here's the catch. I had never worked for anybody in my life. So for me to go to, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to work for somebody else, even though it's a CMO, it's a C-level job, and I'm going to be making good money, and I'll be able to pay for rent in both places, and I'll live comfortably. For me, it was like, why would I do that? Like, why would I go backwards, and why would I build somebody else's empire when I can do that for us, for our families? And when we were looking at this opportunity, we went to a corporate overview for this other company I used to work with. And we went there, and there was a lot of brainwashing. There was a lot of people crying, and it wasn't how a corporate overview should be. But I took one thing out of it. I took the fact that I saw regular people with very different backgrounds, with no specific skills, that got into this industry and were able to come in and they were talking about how they were making $250,000 in their first year, $500,000 in the second year. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, hold on a minute. I was an art dealer. I was an art publisher. I was pretty good with dealing with people. I love working with people. I love to help people. And I knew I could sell, not so much as a salesperson, but if I'm passionate about something, I knew that I could help people with that thing that I was passionate about. The other thing was, when we came to this corporate overview, they were talking about what is our specialty now with mortgage protection. And I was one of those people that actually lived the rewards of having a mortgage protection policy. So, for me, it was personal, and I was passionate about what these people were doing. And so I sat in there in that room and I said, hold on, if that guy is telling me that he can make $250,000 on his first year, I mean, I can double that. And it's not to be cocky, but it's something that it comes with confidence in yourself on something you believe on. And I came to Adriano and I said, hey, why would I take a $250,000 salary to work for somebody else? At the time, COVID was hitting and they did not want to do like work from home. I'm not going to be able to go back and forth between LA and Miami. No. There is a potential here that we can build something so much bigger, and we can help so many people. We can help clients. We can help agents. We can help regular people change their life with this opportunity. So that's what we're doing. He didn't like that at the time.
I mean, I hated it. I mean, like, we were being evicted, and here we go. I was like, here we go again. Where are the guarantees that we can actually do this thing? It sounded great. Don't get me wrong. But this is coming from a guy who bought a suit in Thailand after he was taking on a whirlwind with his best friend. Well, maybe a story for another podcast, but never again. I said after that time. That's a good story. We should share that in an upcoming episode. Maybe I'll fly Nick down here and we can do it like a side thing. But it jokes aside, I wasn't thrilled about the idea. You had turned down a job that was going to pay you a lot of money, and mine not so much. But, it was like, hey, hello, our elevator keys, our rent, our car.
Oh, yeah, they turn off our elevator keys.
Yeah, I mean, we shared that earlier. I mean, it's all true. So now it's like going back to this, it's like people just see the success and they see the whole thing, and not for us.
But even when we got into insurance, so I did take the test. I just passed the test. I started selling insurance with a previous company, a previous broker, because we're our own company now. But my starting comp was 60%. No, and I didn't get free leads. It was 60%. I had to pay for leads. I had to pay for everything. And I didn't know better. But at 60%, it sounded amazing to us because we could pay the bills and we survived. So it did what it needed to do. And we started there. I became the number one producer in that company within a month and a half. Within 4 months, we changed brokers. And then we learned that you could make well over 100%, which right now what we have is, up to 145%. And it was the best decision of our lives because we have the best platform for us, the best platform for the agents. And since then, we started Aria Life. And let's fast forward. In the beginning, I was door knocking. I was working 3 to 10-year-old leads. I became a top producer working 3 to 10-year-old leads because we didn't have money for leads. And after that, there was no brand new leads available to me. So I had to work whatever was available.
I need to add something here. If you're an agent or anybody in any sales field and you're complaining about people that are giving you free leads and that are continuously helping you and egging, supporting you, pushing you towards towards success, and all you're doing is complaining. The leads are no good. This is no good, dude. I was dialing 3 to 10-year-old leads, and Viv was killing it in the field. You know why? Because we had no choice. We were in survival mode, and that so when I hear all the complaints and the people who are spoiled, and then they're continuously complaining about stuff, it's like I don't want to hear it anymore because it's just a bunch of baloney. But I mean, it's just the most frustrating thing, and I need to throw that out there.
You just pulled the Vivian.
No, I didn't because I didn't scream at anyone.
First podcast.
I know. Was it too soon?
You gotta behave.
Was it too soon? We'll save it for later.
So I was in the fields. Adriano was dining for me non-stop. I was running as many appointments as I could. First month, I think I wrote 38 grand. By this third month, I was doing 60 grand a month. I was protecting over 60 families. Fast forward, when we started our agency over here, Aria Life, I was pregnant. So had to go on bed rest for a few months. And then when I came back to the field, I was 7 months pregnant. So I was door knocking 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 months pregnant on my feet because all my leads were aged and that's all I could get. And then the baby was born. I was on the field until eight days before the baby was born. And then 3 weeks after the baby was born, I was back on the field in person. And then after that, a few months later, I couldn't do fields anymore. I was just I just found myself coming back home to see little Luca and my very, very handsome husband over here. And I just started thinking, hey, why am I doing this? I basically wrote the book on how to do Zoom appointments and how to help families from home. So why am I doing this? Why am I doing this driving? Why am I walking around with, wearable pumps to, get my milk out in between appointments when, driving 300 miles a day? And that's when I decided to go back to running appointments on Zoom. And again, second best thing we've done, which was, hey, I had some of my biggest months after that. I didn't think that I could produce at a very, very high level on Zoom just because of everything that everybody was telling us, which was hey, you have to be in the field, you have to be in the field, you have to be in the field. And then when I went to Zoom, I think I have my biggest month protecting families was a month that I protected 120 families, 100% from home. With sometimes I was breastfeeding my baby and running my appointments on Zoom. And people loved seeing the baby and the whole thing. And that's when we had a huge breakthrough. At the time, we were building an agency. Adriano was home with the baby while I was running appointments, literally doing recruiting calls with the baby on his lap while I'm running appointments in the other room. The agency started growing. And then fast forwards now, we are protecting 1,500 families a month with 70 writers. We have the highest issue paid writer in the industry. The majority of our agents are extremely profitable, which is something that I don't think people address a lot. I think that within the insurance industry, there's this thing that everybody wants to talk about, submit numbers, issue paid numbers, but nobody talks about, hey, are you profitable? Are you making money? Are you protecting families? And are you providing for your family, right? So for us, it's very personal. We want to make sure that every single one of our agents are profitable and they are doing right by their clients. But this thing started 3 years ago, guys. So that's how fast things can change in this industry. 3 years ago, 3 years and 3 months, I think, I got my license, and we went from not being able to pay the rent, not being able to, to know if we're going to be able to buy food, not being able to buy leads, to having an agency protecting 1,500 families, and having the highest issue paid writers in the industry. Very proud of that. Very proud.
Yeah, it's a testament, I think, to just our relentless attitude and approach to this thing. It's easy to get lost and say there's so much going on behind the scenes in order for our agents to actually thrive the way they do. We have a lot of systems, we have a lot of staff, we have a lot of support. Anything they need, we have it under one roof. And we're constantly looking for ways to improve our agents' success and their lives, of course, because that's part of our livelihood as well. And we know where we came from, and we want people to get out of whatever situation they're in. And that's usually why they find insurance, because they're looking for a new start and a fresh start. And yeah, I mean that's kind of the way it went. That's our story in a nutshell, a very abridged version. I mean, we can go on for forever and ever and ever. Amen.
So basically, this is what happened. We met because of cryptocurrency. I flew to Montreal. I kidnapped him. He moved to Miami. We struggled the heck out of whatever business we were building. We worked through it. We kept being persistent. Yeah, English is my second language, and to this day, I still don't speak very good English. But you don't need to do so if you want to be a top producer in the industry. Because, they say I'm pretty good at doing this. And my English is not perfect. So you see, all limitations in your mind.
Your English is fine.
And we just kept persisting, and we kept, following our heart. And here we are today. And like right outside of this door, there's about 8 20-year-old kids that are here every day now. They are pushing through, and they are about to change their lives. And that's what's about for us. It's about, helping our agents really achieve whatever it is that we have. We could probably make more money with me producing on my own. I can produce at a very high level. But the question is, how much lives can we touch? I can't touch that many lives on my own. But within the amazing community that we've built within Aria Life, we can touch 1,500 lives every single month. And that's what it's all about. It's about making sure that people are growing. People are finding that one little thing inside of them that awakes that burning desire, and they're going for it, and they're changing their lives like we did. A lot of people say, oh, Viv, I can't have what you have. I can't do what you do. And, we have a lot of people in our team today. They don't even have teams. They're just producers. They are achieving exactly what we did. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. So thanks everybody for joining us on today's episode of The Growth Circle. If you want to learn more about #Team Growth and Aria Life Group, visit us at www.arialifegroup.com. You can find us on Instagram at Aria Life Group as well. That's our handle. Yeah, we're looking for to train the next top producers in the industry. And remember that growth is a continuous progress. So, keep pushing yourself, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving. We'll catch you in the next episode.